Thank you all for coming here and giving me the opportunity to speak. This is a brand new product category, and it's really nutritional sweeteners. So everybody before me has talked about sugar in some way or shape, and this is a perfect lead into what we're doing. So when you look at the problem, as everyone's already talked about, is it's really sugar. You look at diabetes, and that's the problem. When you look at what's out there now, you've got the artificial sweeteners that have a number of issues, and we put the names of the ones up there that everybody knows. And you don't have to look very far to see all the problems, both in terms of cancer-causing other health issues that come up with the artificial sweeteners. Separate from the artificial sweeteners, so you look at the natural sweeteners, and in the natural sweeteners, you've got the same issues. You've got high calorie, because they're basically the same profile as sugars. So they're going to put weight on, they're going to cause the same problems for the most part that sugars cause. There's a couple natural sweeteners that are more organic sweeteners that we don't have in here. And a good example of that is monk fruit sweetener, and that'll be something comparable to what we talk about. But you need to understand, it's when they use the term monk fruit sweetener because it's 1% monk fruit. And the rest comes into the artificial sweeteners that cause the problems in the last category. So that's where you start getting bloating, gassy, bad aftertaste, and issues that come with anything that's not organic. So what does that mean for us? So what we're doing is we're looking at this with what we're calling nutritional sweeteners. So this is basically all 100% functional mushrooms. So come out to the table, taste this. It doesn't taste like any mushroom you've ever tasted. And when you look at the ingredients, it's glycine, functional mushrooms, and I'll show you the Hall of Fame of functional mushrooms that are in this, and lemon juice. So it's got 0 sugars in it, non-pharmaceutical adjunct, because unlike any sweetener, this is nutritional. So it has all sorts of health benefits. And since we're talking a lot about sugar, one of the obvious health benefits is it regulates blood sugar. It helps stabilize it. It's got a whole matrix of benefits, and healthy life choices add to this. So everything everybody else is talking about here only gets helped by having the right input on the front end, by cutting out sugars and doing something that's healthier and easier to use. So when you look at what are the mushrooms in the 6 mushroom blend that we're using, I'll step through those, and I've got functional mushrooms, and I put FM in there because I didn't get into my bio at all, but I spent 20 plus years in wireless telephony. I worked 14 years in Motorola when we built the original systems, and I would have people ask me, they go, well, how does cellular work? Because we were doing the infrastructure, and I'd say FM, and they go, it's really FM radio? No, it's effing magic. And then I explain how it really works, so I like the term FM. And when you look at what we're using there, the first mushroom on there, this is important to understand, is this is what they call the king of the mushrooms. This is chaga. And chaga is not your typical mycelium. It's a conch. So it grows on the sides of birch trees. And what it does is it basically connects to the taproot of the birch, and this is only in Arctic regions. So someone who's telling you they got chaga from Irvine, they're lying. It's a mycelium that was grown on oats, so now it's not even gluten-free. So when you look at what this does is it pulls all the sap out and dumps it into the chaga like a battery. So it stores all the nutrients to the extent that the birch actually dies, and when the trunk explodes, it sends out a pheromone so the bugs will spread that out and repopulate the forest. And as we talk about that, people wonder, well, don't you run out of source? The difference is we can farm chaga. So as we cut them off before the birch dies, we can actually seed them in forests. The forests that we're using are all protected lands that are owned by the Native Americans in Alaska. So the most pure chaga in the world is Alaska. So when people are telling you they're getting chaga for somewhere else, you're not going to have the same quality because most of the other Arctic regions have been doing nickel cadmium mining, which I used back in the wireless world for all the original batteries, but the problem is it's created all sorts of groundwater problems. So you don't get the same quality, and prior to this product, all the chaga has been used has been powdered. So I'll go more into that. The second mushroom line is Mushy, which has cancer helping properties, but used quite a bit and recommended by the medical industry. Lion's mane, cordyceps, turkey tail, and maitei mushrooms. Those are the 6 functional mushrooms. So we'll look at the Hall of Fame, and this is the FM Hall of Fame. What I did is I looked at all the properties and I put them in a matrix, because for me to step through this really gets kind of tedious. And this, when you start looking at all the benefits from these mushrooms, this shows you that there's no sweetener in the world that provides positive benefits. So this provides all these positive benefits, none of the risk, and none of the bad aftertaste, none of the problems following on. So when I look at the advantages that we've got, so first, nutritional sweetener. It's the only sweetener that regulates cholesterol and blood sugar. It's shelf stability, so it's 2-year stability. Saves on nutritional supplements. And when I look at some of the measurement, when we talk about the different health measurements, products that are out here, what I continue to look for are ways that you can really, without going and doing repeat testing all the time, to figure out which supplements or which really, from a vitamin and nutrient standpoint, what your body needs. Because the vitamins you've been taking for the last 10 years, you probably don't need anymore, because that changes as your body changes. And as you're taking something like this, it's going to make adjustments to your body. It's going to correct you from the inside out. It's not going to poison you from the inside out like a lot of other things have done. So this is a whole new category, and we start looking at this. What makes it separate for us? As we said, we've got the manufacturer that we work with has an exclusive agreement with the harvesters. So you always look for wild harvested chaga, because that's what it has to be. You don't want lab chaga. You want to find out where it's from and what it contains. The other advantage is we know that we can farm these. So from scaling, we know that we can scale very easily. And the extrusion process we use is actually very unique, and it's trade secret protected. And this is our manufacturer has a trade secret. To give you an idea of what this does is it's a cold press first step, and then there's multiple steps after, much like when the previous speaker Greg was talking about genomics labs and next generation sequencing. Prior to this, I ran an incubator for genomics. I actually had 5 patents in the genomic workflow space, which is why I was asking about that. And what we were doing was, a lot of what we do, it's very temperature sensitive in terms of when you're doing your extraction and you're getting ready for library prep. That's kind of the same things they've done with these mushrooms. So we've had 3 people try to copy the formula with no success, not even close. And it's one of the funny things that I really get a kick out of is the founder, who's a good friend of mine, he was the guinea pig. So when they got the first extraction, and they came up with a liquid extract, and first of all, this uses 70% of the mushroom, where most everyone else is getting on average 20 to 30% yield on a chaga mushroom. We're getting 70%. And he was the guinea pig to taste this extract when it came out, because nobody knew it. We didn't make a sweet extract on purpose. So he tasted it, he said, no, this is actually great. Nobody believed him. So I'm like, oh, okay, drink it again. Now I'll drink it. But we want you to come by, sample it at the table, sample in the gift bags, because you won't believe this does not have sugar in it. And what I did is, we're not really ready yet to lay out our investment plan, because this is part of Blue Wellness. The parent company is Blue Wellness, and Blue Wellness is going to have a group of product lines. So as we work on that, we'd love to get the investors' information and give you more detail as we move forward. But when you look at the nutritional sweetener market, my first SAM-TAM slide, I said, okay, well, we are the SAM and we are the TAM. And how big is it? No idea. Because we are a premium product, but we're not out of the ballpark for sweeteners, but we're not a sweetener. So I said, okay, let's look at the artificial sweetener market. And I said, okay, right now that's $7.5 billion for 2023. And if we do 30% of that market, 30% paying a premium is not outrageous. That's a $2.25 billion market that's available to us. And honestly, we get one big soft drink manufacturer decides to use this in their soft drinks, it's pretty much game over. And we know that we can scale, we know we can handle the demand, but we don't want to do that. We really want to focus it on the health benefits. So in a summary, this is a whole new market. And I've been in a lot of new startups, new industries, and it's very rare that there's not a precursor. And there's really not. There's really not anything out there. I've never seen a sugar that someone says, oh yeah, this is great. It's going to help your hair grow. It's going to help you, defeat cancer. And that's basically the kind of thing we have here. So sales channels, multiple sales channels. We're setting that up right now. Our initial sales will all be online because we don't want to do brick and mortar if possible. And we're going to do with white label if possible. So we're very flexible at this point. When we look at production, this is already in production. The core product that this is built from, because this is a special formulation, is already out selling in nutritional stores as well as online. We have from a competitive standpoint, when I say low entry point, the nice thing is we don't need a lot of money to get this rolling. We've got our first production batch running, so we've got, we're going to have, we'll easily have over 4,000 gallons in the next 6 months that we can ship of this. And you're only looking at the nutritional value in 1 to 2 tablespoons per drink. So when you talk to people, if you guys are coffee drinkers, I really encourage you to come by the table, put some of it in your coffee, because the interesting thing is it'll take the bitterness right out and it'll add just enough sweetness where it'll change the whole experience of coffee. And I hate coffee, so when I say that, I tasted it to make sure. And it's a fast mover advantage because this is the first this is being presented in an investment group.